Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. Today, we are looking at something that is just truly fascinating. We're stepping inside an incredibly innovative behavioral science curriculum. But here's the catch. It's completely disguised as a simple elementary school activity. It's called the Mailroom, and I am so excited to share this with you today because it literally flips the script on how we teach critical thinking. We aren't just talking about basic reading comprehension here. We are diving into high-level cognitive psychology. So let's just start with a fundamental question. How on earth do you teach cognitive biases to 8-year-olds? I mean, you obviously can't sit a bunch of third graders down and give them a dry lecture about the fundamental attribution error, right? They'd be asleep in 2 minutes. Instead, the creators of this curriculum use what they call a discovery-first philosophy. What that means is the students actually have to live the trap. They have to feel the friction and make the mistake themselves before they ever learn the academic name of the cognitive bias. It's all about learning through raw experience. Okay, so what is it? The Mailroom is a 5-day experiential simulation. For one whole week, right during their English language arts block, these third graders are put completely in charge of sorting and delivering their school's mail. They have to read notes, decide who needs them, and this is the most important part, they actually have to live with the consequences when they get it wrong. The whole thing totally ditches those boring, dry worksheets in favor of real, tangible stakes to teach critical thinking. Basically, the wrong delivery is the curriculum. Let's move into Section 1. Welcome to the Mailroom. Here is how it actually plays out on a day-to-day basis. Mechanically, the structure of this is so clever. The students are split into little teams of 3 or 4, and every single child gets a highly specific role. You've got the mail sorter who reads the notes out loud to the group. Then the detail checker rereads them just to catch anything that might be hiding in the text. You have the delivery logger who handles the paper trail, tracking the from, to, and room number. And finally, the clarification writer who drafts messages back to the teachers whenever a note is missing key info. Together, they become this collaborative, well-oiled mail delivery machine. And that brings us to this absolutely crucial quote directly from the teacher's guide. The team cannot vote until the mail sorter reads the evidence. Now, this acts as a critical forcing mechanic. It completely prevents that one loud or pushy kid in the group from just grabbing a note and making a wild guess for everyone. It forces the students to anchor their decisions in the actual physical text on the page, rather than just relying on their gut assumptions. Which brings us to Section 2. Setting the thinking traps. Let's see how the week escalates. Over this 5-day week, the students are taken on a very deliberate emotional arc. They start out on day 1 with really simple notes, which builds up their curiosity and gets their confidence high. But by day 2, they hit confusion as the notes start getting tricky. Day 3 brings totally conflicting notes and, naturally, disagreement among the teams. Day 4 introduces real consequences and accountability, and that all leads to the final reckoning on day 5. You see, the friction and confusion, they aren't accidents here. They are actually the intended teaching tools. So on day 2, the curriculum brilliantly springs its first traps. Take a look at this. On the left, you have Mr. Patel. He is screaming in all caps with multiple exclamation points because he urgently needs 4 chairs. Then on the right, you have Nurse Williams. She leaves a very quiet, calm note about a new student's severe peanut allergy. The simulation basically sits back and watches to see which note the kids decide to deliver first. When a team rushes to deliver the loud chair note and deprioritizes the quiet allergy note, they fall right into the rush job and the first look trap. They have to learn that capital letters do not equal actual evidence. Here is another really fantastic example of a trap. They call this the skim trap. The kids receive this super friendly, wordy paragraph from Mr. Jackson going on and on about how great the science fair is going. But buried right smack in the middle is his actual request. He needs 20 sheets of poster board by Friday. Teams that just skim and only read the first sentence miss it entirely. The kids learn the hard way that they absolutely have to read past the opening line. Now we're at Section 3, fixing the broken process. This is the midpoint where the pressure really starts to mount. Day 3 is an absolute pressure cooker. Imagine this. 2 notes arrive, but they have completely conflicting times for a school assembly. Panic immediately sets in. The loudest teammates usually just start shouting, "Just send it," which triggers what the curriculum cleverly calls the loud voice problem. In the real world, we'd call that groupthink. In another scenario, Coach Davis sends a note using really vague abbreviations. And instead of just stopping and asking for clarification, teams will just guess, falling face first into inference filling. Then comes day 4, accountability day. The wrong deliveries from the day before actually land on the principal's desk, and of course, the kids naturally want to point fingers at each other. He did it. No, she did it. But the teacher repeatedly counters with this incredible phrase, what step broke, not who. This is a process audit. It forces the kids to look at their collaborative system rather than playing the blame game. They learn they have to fix the process, not blame the person.
Okay, moving to section 4, the discovery first reveal. This is where it all comes together.
It's day 5. The teacher gathers the whole class around and delivers this incredibly brilliant, validating reveal. They tell the kids, your brains played tricks on you, not because you are not smart, because everyone's brain does this, even grown-ups. It's such a powerful moment because the teacher completely normalizes their mistakes, connecting their struggles in this little mailroom to universal human behavior. And this is exactly where the curriculum bridges the gap. It visually maps their kid-friendly names to high-level behavioral science. The skim trap becomes the curse of knowledge. The rush job is urgency bias. The loud voice problem, well, that's groupthink. By the time these third graders actually hear academic terms like inference filling or fundamental attribution error, they don't just memorize them, they already deeply understand the feeling of them.
Finally, let's look at section 5. Why boring choices win.
The ultimate thesis of this entire curriculum is surprisingly simple. Boring choices win. Careful, slow, evidence-based choices will always beat the loud, fast, and exciting ones. The mundane, quiet work of just checking your facts, re-rating details, and verifying information, that's exactly what saves pilots, doctors, and businesses from total disaster in the real world. So it's really about replacing bad habits with good ones. The students are given a whole toolkit of positive decision habits to reach for when things get hard. They learn bounce-back thinking to recover from mistakes without falling apart. They learn to do a brain check to catch themselves when they start rushing. They learn how to separate feelings versus facts. These are incredibly sophisticated cognitive tools, beautifully repackaged for 8-year-olds. Now, crucially, for any of this to work, it relies on some incredible pedagogical integrity. Listen to this. Students are absolutely never graded on their accuracy score. If a team got lucky and just blindly guessed right, they do not get the top grade. They are assessed entirely on their reasoning, their reflection, and their process. A team that thoughtfully explains why they made a misstep will literally always score higher than a team that just stumbled into the right answer. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a provocative thought to chew on. Take a look at your own life. Really, how often do you fall for the rush job just because an email has a few too many exclamation points? Or how often does your adult team suffer from the loud voice problem during a meeting? I challenge you to apply bounce-back thinking and brain checks to your own adult routines. Because honestly, if third graders can learn to beat these cognitive traps, so can we. Thanks so much for joining me on this deep dive into the mailroom.